Do you want to know how planning can actually change your life? Well, I've got a couple of things that might just help. Let's check it out. Hello, Daz again. Thanks for coming back. Hope you're doing well. Sporting the pink today because it's nice and sunny and everything's groovy. So let's get straight into this. Did you know that there is a very, very easy way to make massive changes in your life? It may seem obvious when I say it, but it's something that's often overlooked. Planning is the answer. So I hope you enjoyed this video. No, joking. So how planning can really change your life. So what I want to do is switch that whole thing around, because often when you want to change something in your life, it's sometimes seen as difficult, whether that be a job, a relationship, house, or a course of life. You know, you're doing some particular career, you want to change, you do something else, start a business, start a new hobby, whatever it may be. But often this sort of change of thing or doing something new can be very overwhelming, can be seen as like,
no, it's just too much. Looks too complicated, too hard, I can't do it.
Well, firstly, wrong mindset. Don't say I can't do it. But all the positivity talk aside, to do anything is actually quite simple. So let me explain what I mean by that. If you know me, you've probably heard me say this. Flying a plane is easy when you know how. Everything is easy when you know how to do it. Obviously. Where that applies to changing your life and doing something new is like this. Think of something that you want to do and then list all of the things that you feel are obstacles against doing that thing. So it could be money, time, emotional conflict, all the things that you see as a potential barrier or obstacle to doing that thing.
That's great, that's very fine. Now you've listed all the reasons I can't do it.
No. Now take each of those and break those down into the reasons why they are such an obstacle. So firstly, financial. That could be subdivided again. So hopefully you see where I'm going with this. So say one's to do with money, so finances. So it could be you feel you don't have enough money to do this thing. So what leads into that? Well, you know, how much you earn, how much you could get from selling things possibly, or getting money from other sources, whether that's a side job or side business or something like that. Keep breaking each one down into its component parts all the way down. And what you'll find is that breaking everything down, you end up with these tiny, tiny fragments which all come together to the big reason or obstacle or barrier to you doing the thing. Literally drill down. Another word that's often used in these circumstances is chunk it down into smaller and smaller pieces, reasons, obstacles, until you kind of get to a situation where you can't break it down anymore. But what you're left with at that point is such tiny reasons, excuses, barriers, obstacles, however you want to term it, that those ones are quite easy to fix because they're so small. And this is literally it. This is why the whole thing is so simple. Start with the big thing and you break it down into smaller things and smaller and smaller and smaller. The same idea of how do you run a marathon? One step at a time. It's that simple. You just do one thing at a time. So break it down to its smallest component, and then you just work on those. And when you're working on such small components of the bigger reason or barrier, they're actually quite easy because that's the whole thing, they're broken down. But all of those little things together make one big barrier. Take each one of those, even if it's in turn, and just work through them. Simple as that. And as you start to work through these tiny components, one, you're ticking them off the list. So that's building your confidence of getting stuff done, but also you realise
actually it's not that difficult.
And the power of this is then when you achieve something through this method, you realise that doing anything from a change perspective is actually easy when you break it down into the smallest component. And then if you're thinking of some huge change in your life, maybe moving to a different side of the world, or completely leaving work and going traveling, or whatever it may be, some like huge thing, actually when you break it down into the smallest components, it's all doable, it's all manageable, and then it's easy. Yes, it may take a little bit longer time that way. You're working through it, one piece at a time, and you're building up knowledge and confidence as you go. And so ultimately, you'll achieve the end result without almost any big effort. Yes, time, and ultimately it's effort because you're doing all this stuff, but it's not gonna feel like a huge, big effort like it would do if you go,
right, I'm just gonna do this thing tomorrow.
And you've got to make this massive change. And that's often difficult as well because of comfort zone levels, and we only like to live within our comfort zone, and just pushing things slightly more is just doable, but then too much, we'll stop and we'll give in. So if you try to make too much of a big change in one go, it's very, very difficult because of that whole comfort zone, and we find discomfort in change and stuff like that. But if you're just incrementally stretching that comfort zone, you don't really notice you're doing it until you get to that end result of achieving the thing and you've moved to the other side of the world.
Oh wow, I'm here.
It's because you've done it incrementally. It doesn't seem like a real kind of rip to the heart because it's such a massive change and discomfort and all that. You've actually done it easily but incrementally, and that's the key. To make any change, tiny changes incrementally and consistently. So in summary, by planning everything out, you can actually change your life to however you want to do it. And I said we address it around the other way. You know, if you want to change your life, break everything down into a plan and then follow that plan. And it may take a little bit longer than you perhaps originally thought, but you'll get it done. You'll get it done almost without noticing. And suddenly you'll be at this final point going,
I can't believe I did that.
it's because it was easy, and everything is easy when you break it down to tiny points. So that's all I've got time for today. I hope you got some value and enjoyed this. To me, it seems an obvious thing, and I'm not saying I'm the expert in this by any means, but it's something that I have to sort of constantly remind myself to break things down and attack them that way, because this also helps procrastination, which I'm the king of. If you've got tiny things, you can just do them like that, and before you know it, you've actually completed it. But by having a big task, it seems too difficult. And so I recommend it for that. If you're procrastinating ever, try this, bring it down to this smallest component, and then you can just tick the things off. Leave me a comment below, you know, do you procrastinate, or do you have fear of doing big changes? If you do, you know, what have they been? So let me know below. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love you to. If you like getting this kind of video and want to see more, please do. And if you like the video and got some value, smash that like button so it's nice and blue. And for now, I will say goodbye, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so down here, and check out my other video down here. And remember, live your best life and profit from that passion. See you next time. Bye bye.